The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there, and welcome to Databank Brawl, the podcast where we learn about Star Wars characters, discuss them, share our feelings, and then make those characters fight for our amusement and yours as well. I'm your host. My name is Joseph Scrimshaw. I have some whiskey. Here, as always, is Ken Napzok. He has some whiskey, too.
I have some whiskey, some good stuff. I don't know what it's called. It was handed to me at a birthday party once, and it's really good stuff.
You have surprise birthday whiskey.
Surprise birthday whiskey, indeed. Happy to be here. It's not about the whiskey. It's about the Star Wars characters we're about to kill.
That is right. Somebody is going to die or have their feelings hurt. Those are the high stakes here on Databank Brawl. We have some great guests. They've appeared on a couple different episodes of Databank Brawl, and we are thrilled to have them back for what I think will be kind of a special episode from Star Wars Explained. It is Alex and Mollie Damon.
Hey.
Heyo.
And you both have not whiskey, but beer.
Just beer, yeah.
Just beer.
Just, it does its job.
Yeah. Was this handed to you randomly by someone like Ken's Mystery Whiskey, or do you know where this beer came from?
No, we went straight to a 7-Eleven before we came here.
Just a block away.
It's a good 7-Eleven. I know that one.
The 7-Eleven down the block. More trustworthy or less trustworthy than a random person at a birthday party? I don't know. But we are going to get right into this. We just finished up our big solo tournament, and now we're going to get back to some classic Databank Brawl. I wanted to have some fun with the guests that we have here, so I put together a specific match. Is everyone ready for your first combatant?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Ready.
Okay, our first combatant is one of those ones I had to double check that we hadn't actually done before, but we haven't. It is a random scout trooper.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Already sounds of pity, and the fight has not begun yet. Here's what the StarWars.com databank has to say about scout troopers. Scout troopers were lightly armored compared with other stormtroopers, which allowed them to move more quickly and easily in a range of environments. They were also trained for more independence and adaptability than most Imperial troops. The Empire used scout troopers for a range of missions, including reconnaissance and infiltration. On Endor, scout troopers riding speeder bikes patrolled the forests, guarding against threats to the shield generator protecting the second Death Star during its construction in orbit above the moon. All right, so this is why we do Databank Brawl, because sometimes it just tells you stuff you know, like, yes, we know that they rode speeder bikes on the moon of Endor, but all this other stuff, that's pretty juicy.
Yes, I'm reading a little bit of their what they carry with them.
Ooh, yeah.
I love this choice. I think you almost did this for me, even though you have special guests. You know that biker scouts are like my favorite of the troopers.
In fact, I put into the databank biker scout. Like, no, that's right. They're called scout troopers these days. Times change, names change. They're scout troopers.
Yeah, I'm a little upset about that. But
The Scout Trooper helmets are like one of my favorites. I don't know why. It reminds me of the Scream mask.
Yeah. I would have never thought of that, but it's totally, I can see somebody wearing a speeder bike mask and killing people in a horror movie. Yeah, so I just love all this stuff about moving more quickly and easily, and that they're trained for more independence and adaptability is absolutely great. Now, Alex, you, of course, explain things on Star Wars Explained. Is all of this information, or you're like, yeah, of course, everybody knows that about Scout Troopers?
It sounds accurate. I mean, StarWars.com is my first stop for information.
Yeah.
So.
But, like, in your mind, is that, like, this stuff that you feel like you know about Scout Troopers, that they're supposed to be more independent and quick-moving?
Yes, although I did kind of wonder at the infiltration line. Like, how are they going to sneak into anything?
right.
It's great for infiltration. Bright white. Yeah.
Yeah.
In clunky, loud armor.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Bright white squeaking. Perfect for
right.
infiltration. Ken, are you on Wikipedia?
I am on Wikipedia.
Wikipedia?
Scout. I have an issue with that. Biker scouts. I know they're not always on bikes.
Well, yeah, but people who are bikers aren't always on bikes. When you go to a biker bar, they're not literally on their bikes in the bar.
I don't know about that, but I'll take it. A scout trooper, I get it. And they ride these 74Z speeder bikes. And later on, and I think for me, I don't know when this popped up, they became snipers, or at least snipers are in their ranks. And I think that first Battlefront or the second Battlefront game in 05, kind of made that a thing, right? Did it pop up before there, Alex?
I think that's probably true. I think that was more just an issue of like game design and let's find a way to make them look a little bit different.
Right.
And Scout Troopers make sense for that.
So. Yeah, you need a sniper class, so let's make them.
And that's still true of Battlefront 2 to this day, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I just love them, man. I love those speeder bikes. I love the helmets that Mollie's talking about, and I love I love Endor, just love everything about it. And as a kid, I had that little palm tree that was sideways in my backyard, and I'd climb up on it, and I'd pretend it'd be a speeder bike, and I'd run around and reenact my favorite scenes from Return of the Jedi.
We were watching Jedi this morning, and I was like, gosh, I remember being obsessed with that one scene, the chase, and like we'd get on our bikes and ride through the forest, and not nearly as fast, but it felt alive.
It felt like you were going.
Yeah, I always loved that scene until I had to play it in video games, and I was like, damn, this scene, it's so hard. In every video game, you crash into something.
Did you play that on the arcade game?
I certainly have played the arcade.
Quarter machine there?
Yeah, no, not a lot, because I only had so many quarters, and that was a quarter killer.
Not as popular as the 70s version of the arcade game of Star Wars with the block look, but it was good. And it had a speeder bike scene that was tough.
Oh, yeah. Lots of different iterations of that speeder bike in the video games. Terrible. So is there other details in Wikipedia?
Yeah, so you mentioned the light armor, and I'll go over some of the specs. Greater mobility, optics. Their helmets move up, so you can see their faces if you need be. Their weapons, their vehicles, we know the speeder bikes, but we've got different kinds. The 614-AVAs, and then later the 74Zs, which are the ones from Return of the Jedi. They also pilot all-terrain recon transports, the AT-RTs, or as I would call them, the ATRITs.
The retweets.
Their blasters are the EC-17 holdout blaster. They have shock grenades. They're heavily armed. But I like this light thing.
The E-17 holdouts, are those the little ankle ones?
Yep.
I love those so much.
Great gun.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get you some, it's funny, the members, LS-412 and LS-515. These are those famous
classic characters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good from Wikipedia. If you find anything else of interest, let me know. But
they don't have armor pads on their thighs.
No, just some knee pads, right?
Yeah.
So they have knee pads. So they are not well designed. Like many things in the Empire, they seem cruel to the soldiers. Of like the one thing you need when you're riding fast and you might fall off is like thigh protection.
Right.
So
like no.
Pretty big weakness there.
Yeah, if you're falling off at that speed, nothing's going to help you, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, Mollie, you have pointed out that they look like the killer from Scream and that they don't have well-armored thighs.
The mask, yeah.
What do you feel about these characters, or the Scout Troopers?
I like them. I like the idea that they're more mobile and maybe they can fight better. I don't know if they got different training. I don't know. I've got high hopes, though.
Yeah. All right, Alex, how do you feel about Scout Trooper?
I always loved them. I think they are probably one of my favorite Stormtrooper designs. And yeah, like I said, I just love the idea of speeder bikes and zooming around. And yeah, I think I recall that they did get some extra special training that they would be higher up from a standard Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
To compensate for the lack of leg armor.
Sure.
Yeah, I like it. That indicates that they think more freely.
Yeah, I love the more free thinking. I think that will for sure factor into our fight. I don't need to belabor it. I agree with everything that you guys said. I love the Scout Trooper. Love those scenes in Return of the Jedi. And I like knowing that they are better trained, they're smarter, and they still got murdered by Ewoks. Yeah. So their shame is greater.
Right.
With that, any other thoughts? Anything else you want to share on Wikipedia, Ken?
No.
It's one of your faves.
It is one of my faves. I started to look into Legends, and I'm going to get out of that tab because it's confusing.
It's a trap.
It's confusing me already.
All right. Well, our next combatant is close to someone else here's heart, and that is Biggs Darklighter.
I thought you might do it. Oh my gosh.
I've been waiting for a while. I've been sitting on Biggs for you, Alex.
Sitting on Biggs.
Here's what StarWars.com has to say about Biggs in their databank, and then we'll talk about Biggs a lot. Ken's got something juicy, but here we go on the databank. Biggs Darklighter grew up on Tatooine with Luke Skywalker and shared his friend's dreams of escaping the dull desert world. After graduating from the Imperial Academy, he defected from the Empire's service to join the rebellion. He and Luke were reunited at Yavin 4's rebel base and flew together against the Death Star. Luke returned from that mission as a hero, but Biggs did not survive. This is one of the crueler, more disrespectful entries of the databank to really point out not only did Luke survive, he came back as a hero. Biggs died. Don't worry about it.
Biggs did not.
Biggs and his big mustache did not come home to see Luke's medal
He
ceremony.
escaped somehow.
In our hearts.
In your hearts.
Oh, all right, all right.
I was starting to giggle because I go to the Wikipedia page and front and center because Alex does his videos and puts it there on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
You work with Wikipedia. So I almost wanted to just play Alex talking about his favorite character.
Well, it gets weepy.
Yeah, it gets weepy, but yeah, a lot there. So I mean, do you know his stuff by heart? His specs?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is no longer canon, so a lot of
Yeah.
that history is wiped away. But they, From a Certain Point of View book, brought a fair amount of it back.
Ooh.
He was in the Imperial Academy. He defected on the Rand Ecliptic. So he was Imperial. He probably got a lot of the same training that the Scout Trooper got. And now he comes back and he also has the Rebel side of training. I think he's going to have a leg up. And then honestly, today on Twitter, I saw John Jackson Miller and I think another author talking about how Biggs basically also kind of trained Luke how to fly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Biggs trained
Yeah.
the guy that blew up the Death Star and sacrificed his life to save him. He's great.
Yeah, they could have maybe put that in the databank article. He died. He was cool. He died.
Who do we write about this?
Yeah. Well, Alex, I'm gonna stay focused on you. We'll get the stats from Ken, but since he is a big part of the way you present your fandom to people who know you, that they know that you're a Biggs guy. What is the deal with Biggs? Why do you love Biggs?
So it's kind of a behind the scenes answer. But when I first became obsessed with A New Hope, like you would see just images of Biggs on Tatooine with Luke in his cape. And you'd be like, oh, what's that about? That's the guy from the end. And
Yeah.
like, oh, they're best friends. Like you'd read about this and you'd hear some of his history and be like, what is going on here? And at the time, this is in the VHS days. There's no DVDs. You can't just find the deleted scenes. There's no YouTube.
Yeah.
So it became like this mythical thing that like, okay, this scene was filmed. And first of all, that was kind of my introduction to the idea that things would be shot and not included in the movie. And I'd be
Right.
like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
Why would they keep Biggs from us?
So like I became kind of intrigued by that idea of film. And then my friend came home one day and was like, I got this thing. It's called Behind the Magic, and it's this CD-ROM, and you have to like unlock it, but you can find the big scene on there. And we were like, let's do it. And we got through it, watched the scene. It's not that good. Now I know why
It
deleted
was
scenes
deleted
exist.
for a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, no. Biggs is great in it. He gets to wear the cape. He looks so fly.
Luke is pretty terrible in that scene.
I mean, it's there's a reason it was cut.
Yeah.
It's just you don't need it. But that was kind of just that introduction to that side of film for me. And it got me interested into the idea that, like everyone in Star Wars has a story to tell.
Right.
And so it's kind of a symbol, I guess. He was my first introduction to all of that. And part of it is a little bit contrarian to just be like, oh, my favorite character is Biggs Darklighter. But also the best part about that is that having a minor character as your favorite, it means you can get all of his merchandise. Like there's not a competition.
There's
Like
not a rush on Biggs.
I have the full Biggs collection set up.
There was no line at Celebration to meet
got
Garrick
to meet
Hagan.
Garrick Hagan and like just sit and talk with him for a while.
He was just the nicest man.
He was like, "You're my favorite character," and he was like, "Really?"
Did he say why?
No, but his eyes did.
Oh, good.
But he
Good.
was super nice. Like, just talked with me for a while. Remembered my name when I got my picture with him later. Like, it was
Aw.
just the best.
That is awesome. And Molly, how do you feel about Biggs being married to a Biggs lover?
I mean, I like it.
Careful.
I do like that he was Luke's best friend growing up, and I would love to know more about their relationship. And just like, I haven't like delved into as much of the legend stuff between the two of them as you have, but I love the idea that they're like BFFs and they end up fighting together in, their rebellion, and also that he taught him basically how to fly.
Yeah. And how about the mustache?
Oh, love it. Love it.
Alex, can you grow a mustache?
I cannot.
I would love to see you walking around with a Biggs mustache, man.
I like. Okay, so let me preface. I like Biggs with a mustache. I prefer no mustache.
For Alex. Right. There's lots of ways to
Very
express
political.
our love of Biggs Darklighter as humans, and growing mustaches doesn't need to be one of
Doesn't
them.
need to be one of them.
All right, Ken, what details do you have on Wikipedia? And
Sure.
then I would love to get your feelings on Biggs
Yeah.
Darklighter.
Human male, 1.83 meters. 1.8.
It's this, yeah.
Hair color, beautiful black. I mean, it is a solid black there.
Yeah.
Eye color, hazel. Interesting, going through his family. His family was considered wealthy. Really, they owned like 20 moisture farmers, over 20 moisture farms. Growing up, he had the best of everything, including clothing and a new Skyhopper with each new model release. He was like that friend in your group. We all had them down the street.
He had the at. Yeah.
Old Terry had, was that Alex?
Alex has a friend.
Oh, I thought Alex was the
No, I
friend.
had the friend.
Chris had, his friend Chris growing up was the friend down the street who had the pool and like all the cool arcade games.
The guy that came home with Behind the Magic CD-ROM.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh my God, he's your Biggs.
Yeah.
So Biggs
man.
was probably showing Luke some CD-ROM of like, hey, ever seen this?
Yep.
It's Battle Coruscant. You can unlock it and watch it.
So that's it. He's got that cool cape. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on, man.
All right, can you describe a little bit, because I'm picturing it in my mind, the cape, but what else does the rest of the outfit look like when he's on Tatooine?
It is, he's got a brown, kind of sand brown jacket. Like, is that a blue shirt underneath there, Alex? I can't...
Sounds right.
Sounds there. And I know he's got some, this picture doesn't have it, but he's got some fly trousers. Yeah, that cape, the black cape, majestic.
Yeah.
Star Wars capes, man.
Yeah, jet black like his hair and his mustache.
Yes, exactly.
All right, how do you feel about him, Ken?
I do like Biggs a lot. And I actually totally understand what Alex is talking about, where early on it is an introduction to deleted scenes. Because I would check out a book from my elementary school that was like the Star Wars story, not one of those like turn the page when R2 chimes books. I had those too, but it was like a hardcover book of A New Hope, or as we obviously just called it, Star Wars. And it was like, what is this? What am I looking at? This wasn't in the movie I saw. And then I read the novel at the time, Blue 3, of course, Biggs, but like then you Cammy and all the other people, and you're like, oh, okay, so there's a larger world, and then there's a story to this character that's just there for a second, and it is. You're absolutely right. It opens up the Star Wars galaxy to you. You start learning more about what that means more than just what you're seeing on the screen. you know?
Yeah, no, I love Biggs too. I remember when I saw his action figure when Power of the Force came out. Like, cool, Darklighter. That was the first place that I heard Darklighter. Like, that's a good,
Right.
Great name.
ridiculous but awesome at the same time Star Wars name. And I grew up with that storybook. That was one of the first Star Wars things that I owned.
Yeah.
And I had seen Star Wars, but I was like basically learning to read off that storybook, just like a word at a time kind of thing. And I was confused for years. And it's like the next time I finally saw A New Hope, like just in a library, because we didn't even have a VCR yet. I'm sounding really ancient here with the way I'm saying this. But then it was like, what? Where are the big scenes? Because in my mind, I've read them. They're there, right? And like I grew up almost thinking that they were there.
Yeah.
But I so related to Luke's great desire to leave. And I think Biggs is so important because he's the guy who got out. Not only did he have all the cool toys in a cape, but he seems a little older than Luke. And like maybe even like a prototype for Han for Luke, of like, look up to that slightly older, cooler guy.
Right.
And I think Biggs really has always held that place in my heart of the slightly older, cooler guy who's just kind of got his stuff together.
And I love in The Last Jedi novel by Jason Fry that in that opening prologue of Luke's vision of what would have happened and how the Force is saying, pick a side, get involved, kid. It brings Cammy and everyone, obviously Luke's wife in this scenario, but it brings Darklighter, the family, back into it. That was fun to read. For you guys, I don't know if you had that same reaction where it's like, oh, Biggs is still in Luke's mind somehow, some way.
I was more concerned for the Darklighter family because in that vision, it's like the Empire came for the Darklighters because Biggs was off dying for the rebellion, and I was like, don't kill them all.
Don't kill all the Darklighters. Come on. Yeah. All right. So we all like the Scout Trooper and Biggs Darklighter, but to add extra tension, the Scout Trooper is one of Ken's favorites. And
It is.
Biggs is one of Alex's favorites. So we will see how this goes. And with that, let's fight. So as always, we like to do this when the character is still alive in the timeline. So this is before the Battle of Yavin, and Biggs is still kicking around, but we could do this whenever we want. Biggs can be 4 years old if we want.
I have an idea. We can set it on the Rand Ecliptic during his mutiny and escape.
Okay, tell us more. I don't know about the Rand Ecliptic.
Yeah, that was the ship he was serving on. There isn't much about it in canon. They just mentioned the event and from a certain point of view.
Okay.
But that was the ship where he was, and he and in Legends, he and Hobby both escaped at the same time. They've mentioned Hobby being on the Rand Ecliptic as well, so it may have been kind of an infiltration to get him out. Kind of thing.
Well, because Hobby is in Rebels with
Right.
Wedge, right?
Right.
But on his databank, because we had him on Databank Brawl a little while ago, his databank still says that he defected with Biggs.
With Biggs. Okay. Yeah.
Which I would say that I think that the way that they're working that out is that Hobby joined the rebellion and then did basically what Sabine did for he and Wedge.
And got Biggs out.
He went in. They were like, we hear someone wants to defect. He went in and helped get him out.
Ah, nice.
like that.
Wow. So Hobby held Biggs's hand to get him defected. Crazy. Okay, so what is the Rand Ecliptic? Is that an Imperial ship?
Yes.
Okay, is it a Star Destroyer?
No. It's just like a cruiser, or at least it was.
Okay,
It could be a Star Destroyer now, but I would consider it just kind of one of those cruisers.
Gotcha.
okay, and so this is pre-defection.
I think he wants to.
All right.
They haven't pulled the trigger yet.
He's defected in his heart.
Yeah.
But Hobby hasn't shown up yet to help him out.
I like that.
So,
or maybe Hobby's on the way. We don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Who knows? A Rancor could pop up. You never know what might happen. So what are his duties? What is he doing? Is Biggs important? Like, because we're talking about Biggs gets to be the big man on Tatooine. Is he kicked down a peg by the Empire and has to be lowly, or is he kind of a high up?
He was an officer, but not super high ranking. He butted heads with his superior officers a lot. Didn't agree with a lot of what he was told to do.
Okay.
Found it to be wrong. So.
But as we know from Solo now, that's like pretty high end to get into officer right away.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Biggs is already impressing people.
Yeah, he's
with
got
his
some flight skills, I'd imagine.
flight skills, his brotherly, manly demeanor that's just comfortable to be around.
Yeah. I think, too, what's one of the reasons Biggs wanted to defect is they did not allow him to grow facial hair. He's
You think they
clean-shaven.
shaved him?
Yeah.
You want this adventure to be naked lip Biggs?
I think maybe he's got one because maybe that's why he's always in trouble. He's fighting. I just know from a lot of uniform line of work,
yeah.
no facial hair. So I think Biggs would not want that because he looks super great in that.
Yeah. So you think he has? They made him shave it,
Right.
And then he's regrowing it in defiance.
Yeah.
I like this. He's got it's not its full bushy glory yet. It's still coming in.
It's like the best that I can do.
Yeah, it's like he's like we're enslaving Wookiees, and I have to shave my mustache.
This is really. I mean,
I'm out of here.
Did he get picked on for being the rich kid?
Ooh,
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
No word on that in canon, but
Yeah.
sure.
we're making that up.
yeah, by imperial standards. Yeah,
He grew
who
up
knows?
pretty privileged.
He grew up pretty privileged.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, he is showing his mutiny on his face by growing out his beard, and he's got officer duty, so he's probably just telling other people what to do. And one day, coming to the Rand Ecliptic is some scout troopers, right, who need a little bit of extra training, and they get pushed off to what is his rank? What is Darklighter's rank?
I want to say lieutenant, but I honestly don't know.
Well, that's fine. He's Lieutenant Darklighter for us.
Yeah.
So,
I treat my Biggs cannon very seriously.
Yeah.
are you okay going loosey goosey on this?
Yes.
Okay. If we're wrong, we will go to the next celebration and apologize to the actor who played Biggs that we got this detail wrong.
So we promoted you. Alex didn't want that rank to be that high.
All right. So Lieutenant Darklighter is presented with, let's say, just one scout trooper at a time. Like he's going to meet with them. They're going to tell him a little bit about the training they've got, and he's going to tell them what better things they can do because he's this brotherly mentor type figure. And other people in the Empire are like, you think you're so hot, Darklighter. We've got some trouble with these scout troopers. You straighten them out.
I like that.
So Mollie, this scout trooper walks in. We learned that they can lift their masks, right? They do that in Rebels a bunch, right?
Yep.
Okay. Mask lowered or mask up, do you think, Mollie? Is this defiant scout trooper with a mind of his own walks in?
I think he starts out with it lowered and then he pops it up when
Okay.
he comes face to face.
Okay, so he walks right up to Biggs.
Yeah.
And he pops open the mask.
Like he's so close that the mask almost hits Biggs.
Yeah, I think it tweaks his nose.
Yeah.
Biggs's little bit of mustache hairs are they're blown in the wind by this. And underneath, who is this scout trooper, Molly? What is this scout trooper's name?
His name is Chad. He is a fellow rich kid.
Oh, great.
He probably grew up like around the same area as Biggs, and he just like, sup.
On Tatooine? Like
Yeah.
the rich part of Tatooine.
So
Got it, got it.
So he's like from maybe he's a rich kid around like Mos Espa, so like
Yeah.
maybe they've heard.
My family owns 21 moisture farms.
What is Chad's last name, Ken?
Chad's last name is Money Flight.
And the next scout trooper's last name will be on the nose. That's great. Chad Money Flight gets up
Yeah.
in the face of Biggs Darklighter,
Yeah.
flips it up, and Alex, what do you think Chad sounds like? Does he got to have a gruff voice? Does he have a high pitched voice?
I think it's just like, sup, it's your boy. Like normal
Okay.
Chad talk.
Just the way one would imagine any Chad would speak, regardless of galaxy.
Right. So we have like the rich kid Biggs who grew up and like still has a sense of who he is, and we have Chad who's just like above it all.
Chad is above it all.
Humble versus
Right.
not so humble.
Not
Right.
so humble. Okay, so Chad Money Flight flips it up and is like, sup. And I think Biggs just politely is like, hey, well, I'm really happy to be working with you, Chad. So what do you feel I can teach you?
Right.
And Ken, you're the big Scout Trooper fan.
Yeah.
Do you think Chad Money Flight takes this friendly invitation from this friendly gentleman?
No. He looks right at him and is like, Scout troopers are considered the highest class in the Imperial Army here. What do you think you're actually going to teach me? I've already probably learned it. When did you graduate, bro? Like, what year did you graduate?
And Alex Biggs says,
I'm going to teach you some class, son.
so he doesn't even answer the question. He just reasserts his dominance.
Right.
Yeah, nice. This is really important detail. Is Biggs wearing a cape of any kind?
Actually, I think he does in the comics.
Okay,
So, yes.
he has a lieutenant cape. Let's say it's a half cape. It's still pretty cool.
Yeah. Like that.
In the
It's
comics,
kind of like in like Krennic. No one said you can wear a cape. He was just like, I'm wearing a cape.
I'm wearing
because
a
I'm Krennic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Biggs is like, if I can't have my mustache, I'm gonna have a cape.
okay, I like this. He has half a mustache and half a cape, but you put them together and you get one old Biggs. It's great. So he just pushes back. Molly, does Chad accept this?
I think he does. Yeah,
Okay.
because he remembers him from like back in the day.
So that's where it clicks for him. So Chad's like, "Oh, aren't you?
He's like, it's you.
You're the womp rat shooter. You're that guy who's always flying around in your little ships shooting at womp rats."
Used to hang out with that annoying kid, the
Wormy.
whiny one,
Yeah, Wormy,
and
that little idiot.
the
Yeah.
blonde-haired doofus. I know who you are, man. I know you are.
He's like still a little bit like sour about how he's a lieutenant and he's just a scout trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's boiling underneath, but he's just trying to kind of play it like whatever, nothing that you say matters. And I think Biggs is trying to take the high road. He's trying to be firm and authoritative, but Alex, what is Biggs' breaking point? Because it's got to be coming soon, where he's not going to take this BS.
I think he points out the mustache. Like, what you got going there, bud?
You think Chad does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Little-
like speaking of Imperial rules, what's going on in your lips?
What are you attempting there? What do you think you're growing?
Wow. And I think that Biggs, this really bugs him, right? Because this is like the core of his being. This is his individuality that he wears. And he knows that he's made a mistake and he wants to find that individuality again. And I think he whips out a little hollow recorder, or hologram displayer. And he hits the button. And it's just a picture of his face with what his mustache looks like when it fully comes in.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, get a look at this, Chad. This is who I really am. This is who you're really dealing with. And then I think he gives like a little shove to get Chad out of his face.
Yeah.
He shoves him and he holds it out again, and like, look at this. Do you really want to mess with this?
He's like, you don't want to meet this Biggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Chad is maybe a little trigger happy, Ken.
He's a little trigger happy. He gets up in the face, but actually what he does is he closes the mask down. Now it's just biker scout helmet to mustacheless face. And he's like, look, hey man, let me tell you something. You better back off me. I'm part of the Scout Troopers. I'm going to be part of Tempest Force one day. We're going to hit all the moons of Vendor. Know what I'm saying? So tell you what. You want to go you want to go? I'll go with you. Let's go to the combat room now.
And I think Biggs says, sure. Just as a mouse droid rolls past Chad's legs, and Biggs just does a real casual shove and trips Chad over the mouse droid, and he hits hard. I mean, that armor's lighter than a normal Stormtrooper, but damn, bang, and his thigh hits the corner of the mouse droid.
Yeah.
No armor there. Cuts it right open. Big mouse droid blood gash.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah, it's not quite the Wilhelm scream he makes. It's the new scream, right, Alex? Yeah.
Minox screen.
Yeah.
So Chad's down on the ground. Biggs knows he's pushing it, but he is there to teach him, and he is the superior officer. So throw it open to anyone. What does Chad do in retaliation? He's got to retaliate in a big physical way because he's not gonna take this. So Alex, do you have a thought of how Chad responds?
I think he picks up the mouse droid and throws it at him.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a big response.
It's a
yeah,
low blow.
Yeah.
Little mouse
yeah, because
droid.
mouse
Poor
droids
mouse
can be
droid.
killers, man.
Yeah.
Does it connect, Ken? Does he hit Biggs? Is that how accurate he is?
It hits Biggs right in the stomach, knocking all the wind out of Biggs. Like, boom!
Yeah.
Falls back on
He
us.
falls back,
Yeah.
and oh man, that poor confused mouse droid. It starts driving up and down Biggs' body, trying to get back to the ground.
Yep.
Cannot make
Yep.
it. And he's just driving all over Biggs.
Yep.
Right. I mean, he drives right over Biggs' crotch. I'm sorry. I mean, we don't. It's just
and
the
somewhere-
reality. It's painful.
On the other part of the Rand Ecliptic, there's like a group of stormtroopers that go, well, where do we go? Where's the mouse droid? I don't know.
Nobody told us where to
It's
go.
not here.
We don't know where
How do you
lunch
know?
is.
Yeah.
The mouse droid can't show us. All right, so Biggs is now ashamed and angry and feels like he needs to teach this guy something. So, Alex, you were the Biggs whisperer. What does Biggs do? This mouse droid's rolling on him. Chad's physically assaulted him, a superior officer, so maybe Biggs can get away with a little bit more physical violence.
He gently puts the mouse droid on the ground because, I mean, he's Biggs. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he gets up, he takes off his little half cape, and he kind of like wraps it. He throws it at Chad, but wraps his helmet up in the cape.
Oh, so he twists it up. So yeah, I like this. Like Chad's getting his fists up. He's getting into like what he thinks is a Terraskasi pose, ready
Yeah.
to do cool combat, and then Biggs just
Biggs is
casually
going to fight dirty.
Now-
He'll do
wraps
it.
that.
Biggs wrapped
him.
his helmet? So Biggs just had his helmet or wraps Chad's helmet?
Chad's helmet.
Yeah, he
Gotcha,
takes his cape off and wraps up Chad's helmeted head.
I just kind of pictured Biggs had his flight helmet with him all the time.
it's on the desk.
on the
Let's say.
Got
Make
it.
that
So,
canonical.
Chad's helmet. Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. So Mollie, how does Chad respond? Does he have anything clever? Does he use anything in the room?
At this point, he's just like a little bit confused, and I think Biggs takes a little bit of a high road, and he's like, patch yourself up, let's do this for real.
Okay, so he tries to invite him to the actual combat room.
Yes,
He tries to
He's
be
like-
a gentleman.
He's like, you're here to learn from me, I'm going to teach you a real lesson. That was unintended, that whole
That was
cut.
a freebie.
Yeah.
That was a freebie.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is where Biggs has made a terrible mistake because he thinks this is why he wants to be part of the rebellion. He sees nobility. He thinks,
Right.
Chad from back home on Tatooine.
Yeah.
He's probably a good guy, and Biggs is wrong. Chad is looking to settle this violently. He doesn't have the decency to go to the combat room.
Oh, no.
But Biggs takes the cape off,
Right.
and he takes a step forward. Big mistake, right, Ken?
Big mistake. Chad kicks him right in the X-Wing. Just boom.
I love that I don't know quite what that means.
The S-foils are not locked into attack position. He kicks him right in the X-wing, right in the crotch there.
I don't like the damage that we're like just the punishment we're inflicting on Biggs' crotch today.
Try to low blow to you, Alex.
Doesn't he also say to Luke, "I've got some stories to tell you"?
Yeah, some stories. Does say. Biggs drops to the floor in pain.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Because this is a sneak attack to the X-wing.
We got the stomach. The X-wing's been kicked.
Chad came from behind.
And Chad, though, he's got a lot of hubris. My favorite word, and now it's a Star Wars word.
Oh, yes, it is.
I love the word hubris. I once tried to name a pro wrestler with the first name hubris. He didn't take to it. He stands over him, kind of goading him, like, yeah, what lesson are you going to teach me now? But Chad's hubris is going to cost him here.
Yeah. And Biggs notices that the confused mouse droid, after it rolled off of him, has started to record this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And he realizes, this is a way that I can make Imperial rule work for me, because I have the right, as a superior officer trying to teach him something, to beat his ass.
Yeah.
And I think Biggs is as good of a person as he is going to use all of his skills. Now, I think his skills are certainly their kindness, their understanding, right? They're being brotherly and trying to share stuff, but he's also a great pilot. And what a lot of troopers, like the Scout Trooper, don't think as this Scout Trooper should be thinking in terms of adaptability. And I think Biggs is smart enough to realize I can use the skills that I know as a pilot to beat him up. So I think Biggs comes up with a clever move where he's like, what would I do if I wasn't in a fist fight, but rather I was in a dogfight? How would I go after this jackass? And I think he comes up with something clever, right, Alex?
He does a barrel roll out of the way. He kind of rolls away, and then he pulls out a mustache-shaped throwing knife.
Ooh.
And just launches it into his thigh, his unprotected thigh.
Yeah. I like this.
Now
Darklighter, man.
Yeah, so he did a quick evade to get on a different attack pattern, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he's like,
Attack
Then he
pattern
launches
mustache.
his
Go now.
projectiles.
he's like, knife away, right? And he shouts it out, and again, this hits the other thigh. Now both thighs are messed up because he knows where to hit him, and now Chad's limping and falling, but Biggs is not going to give up. He is going to perform yet another attack. Molly, what does he do on Chad?
Is Chad's helmet on or off?
It is on. It is maybe a little messed up. I think it's a little askew because it got wrapped up in the cape, but it's still on.
View askew.
So Biggs gets up and walks over to him. Both of his thighs are injured, so he's just kind of like laying there, like trying to think of his next move. Biggs walks over and gently, but with enough force, presses down his foot on the helmet.
Oh, like he presses on his head, so he's on the ground. Wow,
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I do think Chad is clever enough to be adaptable, and he realizes if the helmet's a problem, just get rid of the helmet.
Just get rid of the helmet.
So I think he manages to sneak his head out, and the weight starts to slip Biggs' feet, and he has to dance a little bit, and it gives Chad an opening for attack.
Right. He does a little swipey kick. Funk, right. I don't know if it knocks Biggs to the ground again. I don't know. Just creates a distraction. And then he gets up, and Chad kind of creates some space. In the use of force continue. You want to use some actions that create some safe space to reset. So boom, boom, little moves, little kicks. Biggs is kind of like, yeah, what's going on? And Chad then revs an engine in his brain and charges at him like he's a speeder bike. Because if Biggs is going to use flight tactics, Scout Trooper's going to use, good old Chad's going to use his speeder bike, his 74Z tactics.
Yeah.
So he's like, and he like even makes a sound, and he charges right at Biggs.
Yeah.
Gets him right in the midsection, tackles
Gets him right in the midsection. It's almost a relief to be hit in the gut after the two blows to his crotch. And he goes flying backward. They slam up against the wall. This is his office where he has maybe also bucking the system of the Empire. He has maybe a few more mementos from home than he should have. He's a rich kid. He has lots of toys. So it hits up against the wall and a shelf full of Biggs's personal belongings in his office. What kind of stuff is up there, Alex?
He's got that same toy of a T-16 Skyhopper that Luke does.
Yeah.
And those,
Nice.
Those things have sharp edges.
Yeah, I like this. So he slams into the wall. Chad thinks he's got him. He's got Biggs up against the wall, and Chad's just pummeling him now. It's like boom, boom, boom. He's pretending those are the laser cannons on the side of his speeder bike. He's like, pew, 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 pew. But Biggs sees the T-16 Skyhopper model falling, and with its great reflexes that a fighter has to have, he catches it, and I think he drives the point of it into Chad's left eye. I think he just spears his eye. It's like,
He's lost his biker scout job. This is a damage to Chad's.
well, I think
Outrage.
I think Biggs says nicely as he does this, like, look, we all have to learn lessons sometimes. Splursh, and he just spears his eye.
That was for my X-Wing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think Chad's in a little bit of pain now. He's stumbling.
Yeah.
He's upset. He's probably saying some things along
Is
the lines
the-
of my eye, my eye.
The T-16 wing still in his eye?
Oh, yeah, it's hanging there.
Hanging there?
It's hanging there. Yeah.
This is like
and Biggs
horror
makes
movie, though.
a quip about like, your eye's a little
Bullseye.
bit, yeah, bullseye. Exactly. A little bigger than a womp rat.
Just like-
but
Brutal.
yeah.
Okay.
And Chad sort of stumbles backwards. And he stumbles backwards to the desk, and he grabs the helmet. He grabs Biggs's helmet.
Oh, okay. Hey, Biggs' flight helmet.
Biggs's flight helmet, which is on the desk, and he starts swinging that. Molly, does he connect? Does he hit Biggs with the flight helmet?
No, Biggs catches it because it's his precious helmet, and it's just the helmet. It's perfect, and it can't be broken.
Oh, yeah, I like this. I think he, in fact, says, my precious.
Yeah.
And
He's like, oh no, this is personal now.
Now it is.
Now, not the X-wing.
I think Chad, in fact, says that. I think Biggs says, oh, no, this is personal, and dives after his helmet. And Chad, with the speeder still, or the Skyhopper still hanging in his eye, is like, it's personal now? Is it personal now? All right, so Biggs is a little distracted by trying to grab his own helmet back, and I think this is a good point to pause in our combat and decide who we think is going to win, who we think deserves to win, all those kind of things.
Look, I love the Scout Troopers, but
Yeah.
the character we've created here, Chad, as named by Molly, a Tatooine, spoiled Tatooine rich kid. Which not a lot in Tatooine.
No.
I have trouble rooting for this guy.
Yeah.
And I think Biggs is just too damn good.
Yeah, I think he's much smarter fighter than Chad so far.
He should be an unlockable player.
Yeah, Molly, are you seeing any upside to Chad winning?
No, absolutely not.
I have a feeling Molly's standing strong with Alex and Biggs here. I don't know about
Molly, did you try to engineer this outcome just by naming him Chad? Apologies to any Chads listening, but sometimes in our pop culture, when you want an obnoxious rich character,
Right.
fair or not, Chad is a name that gets assigned.
Chad, Brad.
I mean, there was always a chance that they were both rich kids and they could have been friends, just
Yeah.
like Luke. But in this case, no,
No,
not at all.
no, Chad's just a jerk. All right, Alex.
I'm leaning towards Chad.
What?
No.
Yeah, had me going for just a second. Like, this is going to be a juicy conversation.
Much conviction.
No. We normally, sometimes we have games where it's pretty obvious who's going to win.
Yeah.
And we surprise ourselves.
Right.
We didn't surprise ourselves at all with Chad.
No.
We didn't really allow any opportunity
No.
where Chad could possibly be the victor.
If we had taken this fight to the streets,
Yeah.
speeder bike race or something,
Maybe. But he's, this is a well-played Ken when you had him use his speeder bike tactics.
Yes, and the sound effects.
The sound effects. And I think maybe he'll get, let's just for the respect of Chad, as we tell the end of our story, maybe he gets one more cool move in where you're like, all right, that was cool, Chad. Like when people watch this mouse droid video back,
Yeah.
they'll be like, okay, Chad, that was a good one.
Right.
But I do think that that Biggs is going to win, and I think let's just go ahead and murder Chad. Because we haven't
had a
just
pure kill in a while.
straight up murdered someone
Right.
in a while.
Right. I think I could see how this might happen.
Go for it.
Yeah. I don't know where they are on the ship, in the Rand Ecliptic. I think the fight spills out into the hall.
Okay.
Chad's still got a wing in his eye.
Okay, but he's punching and swinging.
And Biggs in this moment decides one thing. Enough with this. I'm out of the Empire.
Yeah.
I'm heading to an escape pod, and I'm leaving this ship.
This is it for him.
This is it.
Wow.
This is the canon story of why Biggs finally decided to leave. Chad chases him down, jumps on his back, and is like Carrie Elwes and Andre the Giant and Princess Bride trying to choke him out. Not that Biggs is that much bigger than him, but he's trying to like...
So Chad's choking him.
Yeah.
Chad's 1.83 meters as well.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And Biggs is like one step at a time down the hallway fighting. And he gets to the escape pod. There's a line of them. And it's around this time. I'm sorry, I'm setting up a lot here.
Yeah.
And we can go back and
go
for
for
the
it.
details. Around this time, a door kind of starts melting off, like in that Star Wars way. Like, boom. Bursts through it. He's like, "Hi, I'm Hobby Clivian. I'm here to rescue you." And Biggs is like, "What? Who is? I'm with the Rebel Alliance. We got your letter."
Yeah, I like this a lot, and I think
all this is at play right here.
Yeah, I think that, and I think Biggs is like, "That's great. A couple of things. I'm in a little bit of pain. My mustache isn't all the way there. I just want you to know that about me. But we need to steal or destroy this mouse droid and kill Chad. Just because that's kind of what the rebellion's about. It's killing Imperials, right?
I mean, it's about hope, but okay."
So I think teaming up for the very first time, Hobby and Biggs go to town on these two goals. Either capture or destroy the mouse droid and murder Chad. Alex, what do Biggs and Hobby do together?
I think Hobby goes for the mouse droid. Biggs needs to finish Chad on his own.
Okay.
This is his job.
Yeah.
His fight.
And maybe Hobby kind of notices, like, "Oh, is that a T-16 Skyhopper model sticking out of that guy's face?" You finish what you started there.
This is a little too much for me.
Yeah.
So Hobby tackles the mouse droid. How does this go for him, Molly?
He just like body slams it, basically, and just like crushes the mouse droid.
Oh, he crushes it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow, Hobby is badass. That's great.
He's got some armor on. He's ready.
He yells this, "Hobby against a mouse droid," and they crush it.
Smashes it. Great. And and he takes up the bits and pieces and he chucks them in the escape pod, right? And then Biggs is going in for Chad. Alex, you are the big Biggs fan. Do you have an idea of what Biggs, this noble but brutal fighter, how he would go in for the kill?
He flips him off his back. So then Chad is on his hands and knees, now facing Biggs, and Biggs just kicks him right in the thermal exhaust port, right in the mouth, and that's it.
Okay, so I didn't know which part of him was the thermal exhaust port. That's fine. So the northern thermal exhaust port, not the southern.
I guess that's more intake.
Yeah, it's more the North Reactor.
The thermal. He kicks him in the thermal intake port. I love that. Right, so he kicks him in the face, and Chad is bloodied and bruised. It drives the Skyhopper in a little bit further, maybe all the way to the brain. But Chad is stubborn, and he gets up one more time, and Biggs knows that he just needs to totally finish this. Molly, do you have a thought about what Biggs does?
Oh, Biggs still has the helmet in his hand, and he just smashes the helmet into the Skyhopper, truly driving it completely through his brain.
I like this. And if go for it.
No.
As soon as that happens, the mustache just instantly appears. Poof.
I think that's perfect. I think as he's hammering, as he's driving this Skyhopper in with his own helmet, as his mustache is growing in power, he says, "Rebellions are built on hope." And then explosion of mustache.
I think they put the now dead body in an escape pod with the crushed mouse droid and just launch it.
They launch it, a separate escape pod.
Because what this does is escape pod launches, and up in the control bridge, everyone's like, "Whoa, we got an unauthorized escape pod." And they're tracking that, and that's when Hobby and Biggs get out of there.
Hobby and Biggs jump in. They blast off to their new life of freedom. Now, that's like the end of our stories. Big credits. But is there a little cutscene, a little post-credit scene of Biggs and Hobby in the escape pod?
I have one, but do you have one, Alex? I have one that's not Hobby.
You go ahead.
Flash forward to the Masasi Temple.
All right.
Battle of Yavin is about to take place. Biggs hears that a Luke Skywalker is here, and he runs down. And he's like, "Hey, Luke! Oh my gosh, Luke!" And they hug and they embrace. Garvin Dave Drace walks up. "I used to know your dad. I mean, I guess I didn't know your dad. I don't know anymore." Okay. And then Luke turns to Biggs and is like, "I can't believe you're here, man. Do you ever hear about Chad? What happened to Chad?" And Biggs just kind of like, I don't think he left Tatooine. I don't know. Never mind. Anyways, have you flown one of these X-Wings before? Let's get in it. It's called a X-65B. Come on, let's get in there, kid.
Yeah.
And that part of the story moves on.
Yeah, and I'll add one more addendum because this is so good.
Yeah.
Years later, Derek Hobby Clivian tells Luke the truth that Chad did escape, but ironically, Biggs was telling the truth from a certain point of view because Chad did die in a T-16 Skyhopper accident. And that is our horribly violent story.
They usually don't get that violent.
Every once in a while, yeah. Every once in a while, somebody's just got to die. We let the stories guide us where they go.
I was just waiting for that moment the whole time.
For the mustache?
Beating it into the
Yeah, Molly's like, I've got this. They're
Yes,
going
I
to
know
get
exactly what happens. Well, thank you. That was a beautiful, if violent image, but a beautiful image. Just right. Alex, how do you feel about how Biggs stood up here on Databank Brawl?
We took him to a dark place, but I'm just glad he came
Darklighter,
out. Yeah,
after
it's
all.
true.
Oh, yeah. He really earned his name here today. Well, thank you all for telling that story with me. I've been waiting a long time to have Biggs Darklighter on the big show, so I was happy to finally do it. If there are characters that you want to see fight, do you have a Biggs Darklighter in your heart that I want to see him murder someone named Chad? Please let us know, or another name. Sorry, Chads. Anyway, you can let us know with the hashtag Databank Brawl. Send it to us on Twitter at ForceCenterPod. Ken, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ken Napzok across all social media platforms, including Twitch. Have a new podcast, The Afternoons with Josh and Ken. It's me and Josh McCouga. It's got its own RSS feed. And then there's the Napzok Files. And, of course, all the wonderful stuff we're doing here on Force Center.
Excellent. Molly, where can people find you and your adventures?
I am on Twitter at Mollie Damon and Instagram at Mollymander, and we have our vlogs at Malik's Vlogs on YouTube.
And would you ever, I know you do cosplay, have you ever or would you ever do Biggs yourself? Would you dress up as Biggs?
Absolutely.
Don't know if I could handle it.
we have the helmet. I just need the flight suit.
We already have the helmet. We're halfway there.
This is going to turn into something dirty. So.
I understand. So I'll move on to Alex. Alex, where can people find you?
Our YouTube channel is Star Wars Explained, and on Twitter we are Star Wars Explained, and I think on Instagram we are Star Wars Explained.
Yeah.
Excellent. And
That's
people
good
can
branding.
see your Biggs cosplay, right?
Yeah, I need to work on that. We do have the helmet. I want to do like a Rebel Legion cosplay at some point, but last year at Dragon Con I did Party Biggs, which was just like a stupid hat, a mustache, like a really comfortable X-Wing kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. It was very nice. It said party.
It literally did.
Yeah, Biggs knows how to party. You can, of course, find our friend Tony Thaxton, who makes our wonderful theme music. You can Google him for all of his adventures, but if you want to hear more Star Wars music, we like to point out that he's got a page on Patreon. Just go there and search for Tony Thaxton. Of course, you can also support Force Center at patreon.com/ForceCenter. You can check out our merch at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter, and you can find Databank Brawl episodes on YouTube with cool visuals for the intro made by Alex. Alex is going to make the video where Biggs gets selected and the Scout Trooper, we know is Chad, gets
I might
selected.
have to do something a little special for that one.
Oh, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see if that's a face mask pop out, the T-16. Oh, the excitement, the excitement. You can check out my other podcast, Obsessed, all my live comedy shows and stuff like that. That is available, and my comedy albums, all information on that on my website at josephscrimshaw.com. You can also find me personally on Twitter and Instagram is at Joseph Scrimshaw. You can like Force Center on Facebook and follow us on Twitter is at ForceCenterPod. And until next time, as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening. I care. That's it for Databank Brawl.